Hello and welcome to a very special Memorial Day Bourbon video edition. And today we are in a beautiful outdoor setting which is fitting for Memorial Day. And another fitting thing is we're going to talk about the military, which is something that is very important and really part of why Memorial Day is celebrated. Raj, what do you have for us today?
Unfortunately, I don't have a bourbon for you today, but I found this great book. It's called Bourbon and Bullets. I just ordered it the other day off Amazon. And it's a fascinating book about bourbons and the military men that served and then came back and opened great distilleries and the history of it. And I've read a lot of bourbon books, but I found this was unique because it was true to the topic, and it gives some history that I wasn't aware of and the specific things that some of these veterans in bourbon did, and they're veterans of the military.
There is a huge tie-in between military service and the bourbon industry. It's really amazing. But one of the things I wanted to talk about today was Horse Soldier Bourbon. And this is a product that is dear to me. I think the story is fascinating. Quite frankly, it's the story of America's initial response to the 9/11 bombings. And we didn't have a plan. And what we did is we sent special force operators into Afghanistan alone, without backup. And they were working with tribes to fight the Taliban and ultimately Al-Qaeda. A lot of times they weren't sure who was an ally and who wasn't. And the Horse Soldiers is 12 Green Berets who went in and basically all came back and led a successful mission to help defeat the Taliban. You'll notice that both of these bottles are signed. I had one signed for you, Raj, one signed for me by Major Nutsch, who was a captain at the time. And basically, he is featured in the movie 12 Strong. And I'm telling you that if you have not seen 12 Strong, or if you have not read the Horse Soldiers book, you should. The heroism and courage that these men have, we owe a debt of gratitude to them. And Raj, I thought it was apt that we would try their bourbon today.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, Don is opening the bottle, and I just want a little bit elaborate on this book. So it's Bourbon and Bullets. It is written by John C. Tremazzo. So it's true stories of whiskey, war, and military service. You can get it on Amazon. It's a fascinating read. I'm going to read a paragraph from it while he's pouring. So it says, as Richard Stone wrote in Kentucky Fighting Men, during the War of 1812, each man carried a gun, a pack of cards, and a bottle of whiskey. Even from their homesteads, distillers advanced the military effort by bringing whiskey and providing whiskey to their fellow soldiers.
Raj, what we're going to try first is Horse Soldier Straight Bourbon Whiskey. This one is 87 proof, non-chill filtered, and a great part of the Horse Soldier story is they were literally training on the Cumberland River in Kentucky when they heard about the Twin Towers being attacked, and they were mobilized right from the Cumberland River, and they have now broken ground, and they are going to build a distillery and an entertainment complex on Lake Cumberland. So it's gone full circle from when they were first called to answer the call.
It's amazing.
Cheers.
Cheers. Some orange notes to that.
Yep. Citrus,
Yeah.
caramel.
It's not. It's pretty smooth.
It is. It's a lot of nuttiness.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a pretty young bourbon.
Yeah.
But I will tell you, it's. I did a review of this in 2021, and basically, what I said then, and what I say now is, when this stuff gets some age behind it, it's going to be something very, very nice.
You know, and I'm more for a slightly higher proof guy, more in the 100. But at 87, it's not bad. Generally, I shy away anything from under 90, but this is something that I would drink.
Yes, and it has a little bit of a Kentucky finish.
Yeah.
It's distilled currently in Columbus, Ohio. And interestingly enough, they have a tasting room in St. Petersburg, Florida also. So if you're in St. Petersburg, you can go in and go to their tasting room. But I am really looking forward to the opening of their facility on Lake Cumberland because it's supposed to be fantastic.
Yep. You know, while Don opens a second one, I want to read you another paragraph. We all know where all the famous bourbons, Pappy Van Winkle, Weller, Stagg, and I'm going to read you a little bit about their military history. So William LaRue Weller, Fort Worth General Zachary Taylor for 12 months during the Mexican-American War. And he was from the return of this war, he opened a whiskey rectifying operation. So he didn't make his own whiskey, but as Don told me earlier, he was a good rectifier. And then he hired his brother and sons. That's why it's Weller and Sons. And then he also hired all military veterans that fought with him. The other one's Thomas Handy, was a Confederate lieutenant and wounded twice and spent time as a prisoner of war also. And he is behind the famous Sazerac Company, which owns current Buffalo Trace. Maybe we should try this before I read more from the book.
And Raj, one more really fascinating thing about these bottles is they made the molds for these bottles out of steel from the World Trade Center. So every bottle touches steel from ground zero, and I think that is an amazing thing.
Cheers. And Don, you probably didn't realize, but you do have two bottles symbolizing the Twin Towers that you've kind of talked about in this story.
You'll like this one. This one's 95 proof. It goes up a little bit.
Oh, it's smooth. Is that the single barrel? Or is that the small batch?
Small batch. So these bottles are readily available, and I will tell you that if you're a fan of bourbon, you're going to want to try them. There's significant history here. The bottles look beautiful behind your bar, and having something that was actually forged from ground zero steel is pretty amazing to me. It's really a fascinating story.
Yeah, and I would say, if nothing, it's one thing to support the veterans and who gives us, they all fought for the lives we have today and the great lives we live. And for me, the ability to collect bourbon and enjoy it and the freedoms they've given us. So cheers to Horse Soldier.
And quite frankly, to all the military personnel out there, retired or active duty, we truly do thank you for your service. We appreciate what you do, and we're highlighting one story here of significant heroism, but quite frankly, everyone who serves in the military we owe a debt of gratitude to, and that goes back to the significance of Memorial Day. We kind of glossed over it, but after the Civil War, it was actually called Decoration Day. And it was because they wanted people to decorate the graves of fallen soldiers. And it wasn't until later that it was called Memorial Day and changed to a federal holiday. But interestingly enough, I found out that the reason it's at the end of May was they figured that all the lower 48 states by then would have actively growing flowers to dedicate graves, to decorate.
Right.
And
Makes
I thought
sense.
that was a fascinating thing.
Makes total sense. for us in Michigan, it's a great way to break your backyard and invite friends over for beer and burgers or steaks, and that's what we're going to have later today, and start your summer. And it looks like a beautiful summer here today.
And as always, Raj, thank you for providing this beautiful setting. It's magnificent, and it just speaks of what Memorial Day should be.
Absolutely.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers.